I'd like to welcome Karen Twomey to the show. She's with AT&T. And AT&T over the past several years has really been making a push to reduce distracted driving. So I'd like to thank you for that and welcome you to the Navigate Credit Union Broadcast Center. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about the It Can Wait campaign. We've heard it so much over the past several years. Talk to us a little bit about how AT&T has really made this push for all of us to just set down the phones and back away while we're driving.
And that's really is a good way of putting it. I mean, we're very connected. We spend so much time on our phones, and we talk a lot about that. And it's okay to be connected, but when you are behind the wheel, the phone has to go away.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that we talk about, and everybody understands it, but I think it's easier said than done. And so we're working on finding ways to really make it happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we're all so connected. It's a connected world, and AT&T being a phone company for partly, really making that conscious effort to set things down because distracted driving is so deadly and so dangerous. So what are some of the things that you have worked on to help reduce distracted driving?
So there are a number of different things, and we kind of you have to approach this from several different angles. You can't just go one way. I think one of the things that we have really tried to do is get the word out. And one of the ways you do that, we go into schools, we go in and we talk to big assemblies full of kids, and we show this great documentary which really kind of shakes them up.
Yeah.
Sometimes we bring along a simulator, and that is really great, kind of a big car, and they get to try some virtual reality headsets, and they go through what it's like to be driving down the street, and in that they have to, text or fiddle with the radio or what have you, and they see how fast things can happen. And I think that as we've done that, everybody who comes out of that is kind of shaken, and they're kind of given
kind of stirred up.
Right. They're kind of given a little bit of insight into what it is really like to be a distracted driver. I think that when we talk about it, we say, oh, it's bad. It's bad. But, 95% of people say, oh, it's terrible to drive when you're distracted. And yet 70% of us continue to text. We check our emails, we scroll through Facebook, we look up things on the web. There are even people who take selfies or they're, FaceTiming while they're driving. So clearly there's a disconnect between understanding that this is a real problem and stopping it. So we go through schools, we're telling the students this, we're telling the kids that, and kids, a lot of these kids have just come out of driver's ed or they're in driver's ed, so they're really at a crucial time. They're hearing all of these things. And we feel like, if we can really cement this with these younger kids, then they're going to go out and they're going to tell other people. And I have watched young people do this virtual reality exercise, and it's kind of funny if you're on the outside and you're watching them put these glasses on.
Okay, so this is what we have.
This is what we have. So we have these
kind of the Google Cardboard.
These are these cardboard glasses. They're kind of cool. You can order these, by the way, online at itcanwait.com.
They're like, what, $10?
Yeah, and we have an app that you can put on your phone, and then you slide your phone through here, and you look through these.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? And it takes you through the paces of, for example, driving through a neighborhood. And all of a sudden, it makes your phone ring. You grab your phone, you're trying to text, and you look up, and all of a sudden there's a person right in front of your car.
Oh my goodness.
And you realize you cannot brake in time. And I've watched kids do this and adults do this, and you're hearing them go, oh no, I can't do this, and they're kind of freaking out because it's very, very realistic. And afterwards, we ask them to take this pledge. Take this pledge. Do not text and drive. And every single person who does this takes this pledge. 14 million people have taken the pledge. And statistically, those who have, a good chunk of them say that they have continued and they are not, they're not driving while distracted. But we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. And when you're working with this technology, does it almost seem counterintuitive that you're using technology to stop people from using technology in the car?
Because we want people to use the phone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we want people to use the phone, but we would like them to be alive while they're using it. And when they are texting and driving, that is dangerous for them. It's dangerous for everybody. It's just, there's nothing good about it. There is no good reason to drive distracted. You do not need to get that email. So we've actually created technology with that technology. Your question is a great question because, what do you do? So AT&T has created something we call this the AT&T Drive mode. And it's on your phone, and you can download it. It's free. And what it does, if you set it, there are several settings. You can set it on an automatic setting where you can have it go off at 15 miles per hour. And what it will do is that it will send, it will silence all notifications coming in to your phone. So you've got your phone, it's down there on the console. You will not hear a text, you will not get an email beep, you will get nothing. And it will also then send out a message to whoever's texting you saying, so-and-so is driving, they will call you back or message you back when they arrive at their destination. And I think that's so nice. When you get those texts from someone, I always think they're being so responsible.
Right. Having that alert on their phone.
And I think it does two things. So number one, especially like you just said, it gets the word out that this is not okay. Texting and driving is not okay. And it makes maybe you as the receiver say, oh, yeah, I can do that too. Yeah. And it's not being rude. I also think it's really important. We've done a bunch of studies. A lot of that instantaneous grab is just habit, right?
Automatically, you don't even know you're doing it.
You don't even know you're doing it. You grab the phone, you hit, the message, and you look down. This way, there's no temptation. You don't hear the buzz. You don't have that. And you may think to yourself, oh, gee, I haven't heard anything. And then that's your reminder, okay, yeah, I can't do this. You can customize this, by the way. So let's say, for example, I don't know, your wife's supposed to go into labor, any minute now.
There's an emergency, something like that.
You can have it so that there are emergency numbers. You can also allow telephone calls to come through via your Bluetooth. So you can customize this. It isn't all or nothing, but it definitely cuts down on all of that, and it helps, like you say, kind of set that standard for, we don't need to text and drive. We don't need to have this constant thing. And I think that even though we are a big telecommunications company, this is something that our CEO felt very strongly about right from the beginning. If we're going to be creating all of this, we have to be responsible as well. And it's only going to get worse if we don't address this. So we need to get right in there, and we need to do something about it. So this is one of those things that I think everybody can take advantage of. And if everybody did, it wouldn't seem weird. You wouldn't feel like it was strange.
Well, that's the thing, because it's not really strange. I used to have a problem when I'd be up early when I lived somewhere else, looking at my phone driving, and I had a near miss on the highway one time and swerved. It was really bad, and I'm like, what the heck am I doing? And I haven't looked at my phone in a long time. Sometimes at like a stoplight, I'll pick it up and look and see a text, and I'm like, what am I even doing? This is not worth it. But I made the conscious effort to just put it down. It's not worth it. It's just not worth the effort. So, but then you look and you see the people that are texting and driving. I'm walking my dog. You see people out that are walking around the street, and people riding their bikes, and you're out on the street and you see people, everyone at a stoplight is just like this.
Right.
It's like this.
Right.
And it's almost like there is seriously an addiction.
It is.
And so it's almost like you have to fight that addiction. Some stats that I just found that were available, because it's not just the texting and driving anymore. It's the social media.
It's scrolling through Facebook or checking that email. There's this pressure of having to be omnipresent. I need to check the email and what happens. And you touched on the stoplight. Yeah. That is huge. I've been at a number of state police stings where they will be at stoplights for that very reason. It is still illegal to do it at a stoplight.
It doesn't matter if you're moving.
Doesn't matter if you're moving. And they catch person after person after person, and they know exactly what to look for. They know the person who's got it on his lap. They know the person who's got it in the console. They are looking for this.
So it's almost just an effort if you just have it away, if something it's not making noise, if you just put it away, and if you have something that's responding to people, you don't feel that need to be responding back. But I just found it fascinating. Smartphone activities people do while driving, texting 61%, email 33%. You and I were talking about this a little bit ago. Video chatting, 10% of people are video chatting. I
know.
mean, that's just, it's terrifying. And something that was in the news not too long ago, that a terrible car accident, I think it was in California, the girl was doing Snapchatting and she got in a serious car accident. I mean, it's scary. And we were also talking about how it's teenagers, but it's also adults.
Right.
So how important is it to get the message out to young people, but also to adults, because it's everywhere.
Right.
It's not just young people.
So I think it's equally important, and I think people like to blame the teenagers, young drivers, but as we were just talking about, those kids are actually coming out of driver's ed. They have had it drilled into their heads.
Yeah.
We are going out. Here in Rhode Island, we have an incredible partnership with the Attorney General and the state police. They are very invested in this. This is a really big deal and a really high priority here in Rhode Island. And so they are there at these events with these kids. That's how seriously they take this.
Yeah.
And the idea is, okay, we can't get every adult lined up and put them in an auditorium.
Yeah,
we can't do
that.
And
That's true.
if you get the kids, if you talk to these kids who are already being taught the correct way to do things, and you piggyback on that and you show them through the virtual reality or whatever why this is such a big deal, then first of all, you're getting a whole generation that you're teaching differently, but maybe they can impact their parents and other people. We have done a number of studies. We've commissioned them, and we get a number of new findings each time we do this. But one of the findings that comes back time and time again is that if the power of positive peer pressure. So if someone that you care about or who cares about you says to you, maybe you're driving, please don't text and drive. Please put that phone down. If one of a person's top 5 contacts, the top 5 people that they're always on the phone
Someone
with,
you're always calling,
right,
mom.
one of those people says to you, don't do that, 60% of people say they will stop. They will stop that activity. Wow. It's an incredible statistic. That means that our power to help people through positive peer pressure, that communication, is much greater than we probably think. You may not think it's a big deal, but if you, through your app, saying, gee, I'm driving, or if you're the kid and you say, Mom, put the phone down.
Mom, I care about you.
Right.
Please stop texting and driving. Yeah.
And then that begins to spread. I think it's really, I think maybe we underestimate the importance of that person-to-person connection and that communication. In the studies, we've learned 2 things. First, you need to give people some technology to help. Okay, so maybe some of these automatic things. But then the second thing is this communication. You need to be able to reach out to the next person and say, okay, this is why this is dangerous. Please don't do this. We even have on social media, on Twitter, we have the hashtag tag your half. Okay, your half meaning your better half, or someone who you care about or who cares about you. And the idea is, okay, if you reach out to me and say, this is important to me. I've taken the pledge, for example, no distracted driving. And then you accept that, and maybe you reach out to somebody else. It's that one by one thing. So, you have this auditorium full of kids, and you're hoping they get it. You're hoping they understand it. But then if one of those kids reaches out to somebody, a parent, an aunt, a cousin, or another kid, and if that's happening 100 times over, the idea is that this should incrementally really grow. Years and years and years ago, we didn't talk about drunk driving. We
just were talking. Yeah, and the message has grown and spread, and it's becoming such a problem, both distracted driving and drinking and driving. But because we're talking about it so much more, hoping that the problem continues to decrease.
Right, and it becomes not cool.
Exactly.
It becomes unpopular, and that's where you want it to be.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Just through what you were talking about a moment ago with the tag your half.
Yeah.
I was looking at this on Twitter. Some of the graphics that you have, really cute and really kind of taking momentum online. Right. Some of them like tag your half going dancing, or tag your half and going shopping, and showing that someone that you care, you don't want them to be distracted driving because you want to share activities with them.
Right.
So really like that idea of being able to share and show people that you care about them.
Right.
And you want to continue to do activities with them, so put down the phone.
Right. And our whole motto is it can wait. There are a lot of important things. We know the emails are important. We know the text is important. It could be something like you forgot your wallet, turn around and come home. But nothing is worth a life. No text is worth a life. So it can wait literally means it can wait. And if that means till you go down the block and pull over because you're expecting an important text, fine. but not while you're driving. It just isn't worth it. And I think that we know that in our heads. Everybody understands it. It's learning how to put it into practice, and that's what we're going for right now.
And you do, AT&T is working with the state police. Do you think we need to see more public and private cooperation and kind of leadership in that direction to move forward with health and safety initiatives in the future?
I think that those are always fantastic. And as I mentioned, Rhode Island has a particularly strong advocacy. They definitely partner, on both the public and the private side. This is something that's very important for Rhode Island, and the Attorney General and State Police have been very vocal about it. And I do agree that that kind of partnership, you see it in other places as well, as it's beginning, that I think that those public entities in particular, state police, they're the ones who are out there. They're the ones who are having to deal with this. They don't want to see people dying or in terrible accidents because of something like this. They want it to stop more than anybody. And so I think that you're going to see more of these partnerships burgeoning as they realize that this type of thing, combining the private and the public resources, really are effective. You can reach a lot of people, and I think that is what we need to do. I think that we all need to be invested, just as society in general, in not just our young people, but in everybody. And an accident like that doesn't always just hurt the person in that car. It's often far-reaching, and we need to really care about that.
Great. Karen Twomey with AT&T, thank you so much. If you're interested in taking the pledge, how can we do that?
You can go to itcanwait.com. 14 million people have already taken the pledge. And you can also order those virtual reality. These are really cool goggles. They're really kind of fun, and you can learn all about it, and you can find out how you can bring it to your school and your community as well.
Perfect. And I'll have a link to that on our website, Go Local Prov, as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well,
I really
thank you for having
appreciate it.
me.
We're going to go ahead and take a picture here and then get this cleaned up and get ready for our next guest. So make sure you stay with us. So let's snap a picture with our goggles.